Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be another book video. I have only done this one other time on my channel, but I'm a really big reader. I love to read, and I've been really into book YouTubers recently, so I'm trying to dabble in that a little bit. So today I'm going to be talking about all the books I read in October and the books I plan on reading in November. So October reading wrap up and a November TBR. If you like book videos, reading videos, please give this video a thumbs up. All the books I discuss will be linked in the description below if you guys want to shop. And let's hop right into it. The first book I read in October was I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. So this was a very sought after, very rave reviewed memoir. I believe it's a memoir. She wrote it about her life. It was so good. I had read so many interviews about it. I got it through Libby on the Kindle and really enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars just because it was like honestly really crazy. It wasn't the best memoir I've ever read. It didn't keep me super entranced the whole time, so I probably should have given it 4 stars, but it was a very good book nonetheless. Learned a lot about her, and she really has such a hard and sad life, and the title is just so triggering, but you can completely understand it. I highly recommend it and think anyone who grew up, like who's around my age, I'm 26, who grew up in the peak, 2010s of Nickelodeon and Disney would love this book. So highly recommend. Next I read The Bodyguard, also on Libby, and I gave this 5 stars. I loved this book so much. I flew through it. I love the story. It just kept you so enthralled. It was so sweet. It was about this girl who is the bodyguard, and she's like protecting this famous actor, and they just fall in love, and it's the sweetest story. And there was like this twist at one point that I was like, what? I was not expecting it. Loved this book. Really good, fast-paced romance and very clean. No spice whatsoever that I remember. So 5 stars to The Bodyguard. Next I read The Ex-Hex, and this has been something I've been wanting to read for a long time now. I had bought it like in the spring, but of course I had to wait till October to read it. I don't know. I gave it 2 stars, which is very low for me. I'm a very nice reader. There was a lot of spice and not a lot of like chemistry between the 2 main characters, but I liked that there was like witchy stuff going on that just was good for the month of October, but also the witchy stuff like just didn't make sense, and things like wrapped up really quick. Like they spent the whole book trying to solve this like one mystery thing, and then it was solved in like half a page, and so I was just like, that was it. So it was a little confusing, not my favorite, but I enjoyed it for the month of October. I've heard better things about the second book that just came out, so I don't know. I'm not gonna read it this year because I moved on to holiday season, but I gave it 2 stars. Do with that information what you will. I read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, and I actually read this through Libby and loved it, so I immediately ordered it and the other 2 books in the series. This book was so good. It's YA, it's like thriller mystery. It's not crazy, like creepy, but there definitely is some creepy scenes to it. It's about this teenage girl who, for her senior class project, she's going to solve this murder from her town, and it's so good. Like the writing keeps you on the tip of your toes. I loved it. It's a pretty dense book looking at it. I mean, it's almost 400 pages, and I flew through this. Loved it. Gave it 5 stars. I highly recommend it to everyone. It's probably one of the best books I've read in 2022. And then next I read Luckiest Girl Alive, which I had heard so many good things about, and I knew the movie was coming out on Netflix, so I wanted to read it. I read this through Libby as well, and I really was not impressed with this book. I'm really confused about it. Like, I had no idea what the point of the book was until you're like 60 to 70% way through the book, and then everything happens. So I don't know. It just really wasn't for me. Didn't really care for it. The movie was the exact same as the book, which was nice, but I still like I don't know. It wasn't my favorite, and I had heard so many good things, so I was pretty disappointed in this. I only gave it 3 stars. It had some good elements to it, but I don't know. Just didn't do it for me. And then the last book I read in October was It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover, and I had read It Ends With Us like a year, 2 years ago, and I remember that was the first Colleen Hoover book I ever read, and I really liked it. I like almost everything she writes just because it's a very fast pace and it keeps you intrigued. That's kind of what I like in a book. This one, there was like really hardly any spice, which was nice, and it was really just about Lily and Atlas getting together, and they just got together at the end really quick. So I mean, it was good. I gave it 4 stars. I don't think it's the best book, but I feel like if you've read It Ends With Us, you might as well read this just to like wrap everything up in a bow. So yeah. It doesn't have like any of like the trigger warnings and things like that of It Ends With Us. I mean, it talks about it, but nothing is happening really. So there's that. I gave it 4 stars. I mean, if Colleen Hoover puts it out, I'm probably gonna read it. I just don't know if I'm always gonna love it. But she's a great writer. She keeps you entranced the whole time, keeps you very involved, which I love, and that's what I look for in books. Next, we're gonna go over my November TBR list. So I have requested 2 books from the library that I want to read. One is Hester, and that was the October book club for the Redheads. It's a podcast, a book club that I participate in, and I've had it requested for a while. It just hasn't come in. So I plan on reading Hester, and then their next book for December is Horses by Geraldine Brooks. So I requested those. I've heard good things about them. They're not really things that I would normally gravitate towards, so I'm hoping they're good. And then the rest of my books I want to read. Good Girl, Bad Blood. This is the sequel to A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So I plan on reading this. I think this is about when she goes to college. They start a podcast about the first book, I guess. I've heard good things about the rest of the series, so I got that, and then I also have As Good as Dead, which is the 3rd book. So I plan on reading both of these. I hope they're good and live up to the hype and just bring me back to why I loved A Good Girl's Guide to Murder so much. This one is so thick. This one has like 450 pages. So this one is a dense one, and I got this in hardback. I thought I ordered it in paperback, but apparently not. Next, I want to read The Hunting Wives. I've heard really good things about this. I've had this for a while. I'm trying to go through a lot of my physical TBR stack. Let's see, what is this about? Sophie O'Neill left behind an envy-inspiring career and the stressful competitive life of the big city Chicago to settle down with her husband and young son in Texas. But Sophie soon recognizes that life is too quiet and she's feeling bored and restless. She meets Margot Banks, an alluring socialite who is part of an elite clique secretly known as the Hunting Wives. She has full-blown obsession. She slips further away from her safety and family and deeper into this nest of vipers. So I think this is fun. I guess it's about like, you know, stay-at-home moms kind of thing. So I think that'll be fun and interesting. Next, I have Lucy Foley's The Guest List. Again, I've had this book for quite some time, so I want to get through this. I've heard very mixed reviews about this. It says, on a remote island off the coast of Ireland, guests gather to celebrate the wedding of Jules Keegan and Will Slater. Will is a rising television star. Jules is a smart, ambitious magazine publisher. Though the sea is a little choppy in the self-service body, their wedding is everything you'd expect of a young power couple. But perfectionists for plans and people are all too human. It's not long after the cake is cut and the champagne popped that resentments and petty jealousies come out. Everyone on the island has a secret, everyone has a motive, and you don't know who's gonna leave the wedding alive. So I feel like that sounds really cool. The cover's really fun of like the castle and stuff. So I'm excited to read that. And then next, I want to read my October pick from Book of the Month, which is Jacqueline in Paris. This is about Jacqueline Kennedy. When she's in college, she studies abroad in Paris for a year. And I mean, it's like a fiction kind of thing, but I love Paris. I went in the spring and adored it. I'm trying to convince Jacob to go back this upcoming spring. So fingers crossed on that. But I just thought this would be a cute book to switch up the thrillers that I'm going to be reading. And the cover is so beautiful and I just love Paris. And then the last book I want to read is Wuthering Heights. I want to start reading like some classics and books that I've never read that are just, you know, world-renowned books that people love, and just expanding my horizons a little bit. So my friend let me borrow this book. I have no idea what it's about. It says, when Catherine and Heathcliff's childhood friendship grows into something so much more, what ensues is one of the greatest love stories of all time. Even as fate conspires against them and passion consumes them, nothing can keep Catherine and Heathcliff apart, not even death, for their forbidden love is unlike any other. So, it sounds good. I guess it's like a romance suspense kind of book. I'm hoping I can get around to this. I want to read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 books this month, which isn't awful. I normally average about 7 books a month, so I've got about 1 more on this list than I was thinking. But let me know if you guys have read any of these books and what your thoughts are. I'm really excited about it. I need to go ahead and get a head start. But I hope you guys enjoyed and liked these book videos. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!